Nicole Bullock often feared for her safety when she was around Rodney Crawford, so much so she took out this domestic violence protection order around this time last year. It was still in effect. Durham police were called to the Sonesta Select Hotel off of Highway 55 early Sunday morning. There, a search warrant details what they found. 29-year-old Nicole Bullock lying on a bed, dead. Rodney Crawford, now charged with her murder, is the one who called 911. According to a search warrant, he told police he didn't mean for this to happen. He claims Bullock called him to come over to the hotel. Once there, they started arguing over a cell phone, and then a tussle started. The warrant explains Bullock was the mother of his children. In Crawford's court appearance, we learned he has 5 kids. Going through court records, I found Crawford was charged with assaulting Bullock on at least one other occasion in May of 2021 when one of their children was right there. He was on probation for those charges at the time of the murder. In her own words and her own handwriting, Bullock describes what happened in her motion seeking a domestic violence protection order. She says Crawford came to her home while she and her child were asleep in bed. She says he punched her numerous times, beating her so severely her right eye was fractured. On another occasion, she describes being beaten while pregnant with his child to the point that every time my eye would come in contact with light, my eye would hurt so bad. Another time, she wrote that he followed her home, grabbed her by the hair and dragged her, headbutted her and punched her, then forcibly cut off her hair with a pair of scissors. In another instance, she wrote, "I'm afraid of what he may do next." A judge gave Crawford no bond today, ensuring he will remain in jail for the time being.
In my practice across the state, a reluctance on the part of judges to take full advantage of the relief that they are permitted to grant under the law.
I feel like the system failed her. She wasn't protected at all.
Crawford was convicted over the summer of assaulting Bullock while her child was with her. Yet he got no prison time, only probation. That's the reason Polite says her sister is not alive today.
Well, actually, there are a number of factors why your sister is not alive today. So, hello, everyone. It's your sister Roland, and all I need is a few minutes to talk about the story coming out of Durham, North Carolina, where we have a mother of 5 who lost her life at the hands of the father of her children. She was only 29 years old, and it's a lot going on here. We say that we don't want this to happen. We're spreading awareness because this keeps on happening. But when there are certain things that happen when these cases come up, and there are certain things that happen, certain decisions that were made, and then you pointed out, people want to shame you, people want to shut you down, shut your mouth, saying that you're victim blaming, you're judging. But we say that we don't want this to happen. Unfortunately, what I'm going to say is not going to be able to help this young lady. She's no longer here. But it can help the other young lady that is in the process of going through something like this, is going through this right now. But then we don't want anybody saying, oh, you're victim blaming. Make it make sense. First of all, when the legal aid says that, sometimes the judges, they don't exercise, all of the resources that they can give to the victims. Most of the time, because especially when you're working with public, with the public, where you have to engage with different people, sometimes you go certain times you go all out for certain people and it does not work out. You give them all the resources, and they, especially in situations like this with domestic violence, you go all out. You give them orders of protection, maybe resources to shelters and other resources, and then for the person only to end up going back. Sometimes, that's something like that's called compassion fatigue. You keep on, going out of your way, trying to help certain people, and then those people mess it up for other people. So sometimes it's not that the judge don't want to exercise the resources. When they did it before, it didn't help because the person still end up going back to the person And then in some situations, the person end up losing their life. So that's why some people are, in some situations, not even the judge, but caseworkers and other people, they're reluctant to help certain people, because depending on how long you've been doing, you can tell when the person is really not serious. They're going to go back to the person. So we have to take accountability for different things that is going on. We can't just blame, oh, it's the judge, oh, it's the system. Like the sister is saying, the system didn't protect her sister. That's why she's no longer here. What is the system to do? That's my question. What is the system to do? Should the system have a police with whoever takes an order of protection? Should the system have a police with you all the time? You're a grown person. You know, you finish like I said, when you take this order of protection, before you even take it, you need to know there are certain changes you're going to have to make. There are certain routines that you have. You cannot do the same thing. And this is coming from somebody that went through the domestic violence. The only difference is I'm alive to tell it. This is someone that got an order of protection and then still was dealing with the person. What exacerbated the situation, because that really infuriated them. And I'm only alive today because by the grace of God. So now that's why I'm using my voice to warn other women. Do not do this. Do not do this. Because I remember when it happened, this particular ex came in, knew my routine, because I always had a certain time that I always leave the house. I had kicked him out that night. The morning of, everybody left the house. I was leaving to drop my kids to the daycare. He came, he had all of his fingers had rings on them. He came in and was punching me in front of my children. And what's so bad about it, there were people outside. And then was punching. He literally came to take my life. What stopped him was one of my daughters started crying. And then it's like he came, whatever trance he was in, whatever it was, because it was weird. And then he stopped and then he just walked out. That's why I'm alive today. And that's just one of many stories. So when you have these order protection, number one, you're going to have to change your routine. You cannot do the same thing that you used to do. And you cannot be dealing with this person, because you get an order protection for this person, but then you still sleeping with them, you still calling up with them. That's not good. But you can't say that because you're victim blaming or you're judging people. Really. But we don't want this to happen anymore. This young lady recently bought a house. Because people would say, oh, she probably was taken to she rented out or he rented out the hotel room. He said she called him. She called him to the hotel room, whatever. But he ended up over there. She was over there. If you have a house, why would you be in a hotel room? So obviously somehow she most likely was still dealing with this guy, and maybe saw something in his phone. Something happened in there, but it wasn't supposed to happen because you already had an order of protection. This is last year when this man assaulted this lady several times on several different occasions, to the fact that she almost lost her eye. It seemed like she almost lost her eye, but she was still dealing with this guy, and there could be a number of factors why she was still dealing with him. You know, she has a history. She don't think she could do any better. That's the father of her child or whatever. But one of the main reasons sometimes has to do with self-esteem issues. And when you are a single woman, whether you have children or you don't have children, get off this internet. Get off the internet, especially as a black woman, where you have people telling you, oh, nobody wants you. Oh, black men are going this way and get this way. Oh, if you have a certain amount of children, you never ever going to get married. Just deal with the guy that you're with, even though that relationship is it good. Get off the internet. Go outside. I mean, when I say go outside, I'm not talking about no club. Go outside. Go volunteer. There is Eventbrite. Eventbrite have different events. They have events for free. They have different events. Get involved in your community. Do something. Get out. When you get outside, it's a totally different thing than what these people who be talking on the internet. Because I remember they always saying, "Oh, black men don't want black women." It's not true. I remember I went to this charity event. It was a number of black men that came in, and in this charity event, one ticket was like $600, and if you wanted a table, it was like $50,000 to sponsor it. Numerous black men came in. Who they were with? Black women, and these were successful black men. On the exception of one guy, he had an Asian wife, but she looked like she was kind of Asian mixed with maybe Hispanic or Latin or whatever it may be. But all of them were black women. You have to get it. You cannot keep on listening to these stuff, derogatory things, and you don't have nothing to refute it. Get off the internet. Get outside. Get involved in your community. Volunteer. To go out and walk in the park. Walk on the beach. Do something. Get outside. Get outside. And when you get outside, you will see there's a totally different world than what social media is trying to paint to you what it is. This young lady stated that she was so afraid of this guy. Yes, she may have been so afraid of this guy, but there was still that bond that they had. That bond, spending time together, having children together, still that she still did not know how to, in a sense, minimize, because you really never gonna get, but minimize. To put in the work, get the new knowledge to minimize it. And then what's another thing that gets on my nerves, people in the comments talk. Some of you guys really need to stay out of the comments of some of these videos when they do videos about this. Oh, it's okay to be single. Oh, black women especially, it's okay to be single. What? Because you saying that, first of all, you're talking a bunch of foolishness. Because if you know your nature as a woman was not created to be alone. We are created to be loved and to give love. That's why we are nurturers. So when you know your nature, you shouldn't even be saying stuff like that. And because there are a select few of women, God has graced them to be single, and they are content being single. But that's not for everybody. And then when you're telling people this, so it's okay to be single, it's okay to be single, and then because look at what these men out here doing. No, that's a few men, lost, confused, hurting, wicked men that's out there doing things like this. That's not all men. Okay, let's get that right. So when you're telling women to stay single and to be single, you cannot get rid of that natural desire of you wanting to be loved, wanting to be with somebody, companionship, wanting to, nurture a child. That's why people get dogs and cats and stuff like that. So you're putting off this desire, and then when you're single, ain't like you learning. Many of you are not learning. Let me learn more about the opposite sex. Let me know more about what you do in a relationship. You're not learning. You're not getting new knowledge. You're not getting new wisdom. You're putting off until you get so desperate, and then sometimes some of you're staying single, but then you're using your little toys. So now you feed in lust. So now when you go and make a choice because you really, really want, because you've been using the toys, there's so much that can do. So now you're choosing out of desperation and or lust. And then you end up choosing men like this. You end up choosing, sometimes an exception, a woman may go out and choose, and it works out. But the majority rules, not the exception. So now you end up choosing through lust or desperation, and then you end up choosing somebody like this that's going out. Sometimes they come to abuse you. Sometimes they come to take you out. Sometimes they come to rob you. Sometimes they come to don't even take you serious, waste your time. But you didn't know better because you were staying single because of other stuff that's happening out there in the world may not be happening to you, and you're not getting new knowledge. And then this is what keeps on happening. And then everybody is pointing out the problem. Nobody has a solution. Make it make sense. And then when somebody try to point out, oh, you're victim blaming, Kimelim. I'm victim blaming. Yes, I am. It's unfortunate that this young lady had to pay with her life. And now these five boys have to be raised without their mother. And then there's another spiritual aspect to this too, that goes beyond that, so because it happened to this young lady's mother, she was taken out. Now this young lady's taken out, so this thing doesn't turn to a generational curse. That's another aspect that people are not even seeing. Anyway, I'm going to keep on. If this is victim blaming, I'm going to keep on doing it, even if I have to save one person. Because notice in my analytics, I have people that are under 25. I don't know if it's one or two. If God placed them on this to come my way, I'm going to warn them. I'm going to sound the alarm. You don't wait until the person raise hands on you. It's not going to start like that. But when they start screaming at you, giving you attitude, trying to control you, when they start showing those toxic traits, you nip it in the bud. You walk away, and you should be able to walk away. Don't think that that's the best I can do. Nobody gonna want me because I'm a black woman. I got 5, 6, 7 children, so I have to stay with this man. No. You don't have to. You become a better version of you. When you become a better version of you, God will send somebody away. But don't ever stay in a situation thinking that that's the best you can do. That is not the best you can do. It's not. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.